Mike Arsenault, Kajabadurka here with you at the Weather Network on this Saturday, and this is what a lot of people in Eastern Canada have been dealing with, Kasia, whiteout conditions on the roads.
Yeah, how was your ride into work?
It actually wasn't too bad.
It wasn't so bad. No, neither was mine. But some people are really contending with the snow squall still. Nadine, thanks so much for the video. And what a huge juxtaposition now. It's hard to believe it's the same country, Mike.
This is where I would rather be. Victoria, yesterday the sun was shining, the sky was so blue it would hurt your eyes, and it was warm also, Kasia.
Oh, to be there, right? Record-breaking temperatures yesterday. Squamish, Chilliwack, 12, close to 13 degrees there as well. Isn't that something? And Thursday was also quite balmy as well.
So that's degrees.
And now time for Weather IQ. Have a look.
You can barely see the cars in the 401 behind Arda in that footage. In Kasia, we have Arda in Eastern Ontario. We have presence in Western Canada and up north for next week.
That's right. We're going to the Northwest Territories. That should be interesting, as well as Winnipeg, where, yeah, it's getting colder yet again. And Arda, we had just seen him. He's going to be back in Ottawa for Winterlude, which should be fun. Now, speaking of the nation's capital, we do have a snow squall warning in effect still. Once the cold front continues to slide east, that should be dropped. But for you in parts of Ontario and parts of southern Ontario and central Ontario, so south of Georgian Bay as well as Huron, we are seeing that snow squall warning in effect still through the evening and the overnight into tomorrow as well, because the winds have already shifted to a northwesterly flow. All right, in the meantime, we have been seeing some blowing snow warnings across the country. And what does it take to have this warning in place? So 3 hours of blowing snow, as well as sustained winds of about 30 or more, or visibility, I should say, down to 800 meters or less. Now, in the meantime, we are still seeing more snow come through southern and eastern Ontario, believe it or not. Another clipper system that's going to be moving in tomorrow, dropping about 2 to 5 centimeters of snow, and obviously through that more traditional snow belt region, 5 to 15. But it's going to be more about the winds kicking up that snow again. So near zero visibility for some places could be an issue.
5 were chosen out of 200. And Kasia, you know what? I think I wouldn't mind having one of these at my place.
Ah, good thinking. But our friends in Winnipeg may need it a little bit more because, of course, those temperatures are going to be plummeting. And also, it has been windy and it's going to be getting even more windy. How much windier, really? So whatever you've been seeing, continue to expect the same, really. And this all thanks to this cold front that continues to sink south, where you are seeing the deeper reds here, central parts of Saskatchewan as well as central and southern Manitoba. Quite the gusty night into tomorrow. Oh, yeah, absolutely. We do have snow squall watches in place or warnings, I should say, which we will be getting to in just a moment. But now we're talking about the deep freeze, northern parts of the province, seeing conditions feeling like the minus 40s. So just a heads up, really, those places that we typically do see colder temperatures, it's that cold, really. And we do have those snow squall warnings in effect still. So the nation's capital, just a little east of Kingston, we do have snow squall warning in effect, as well as your typical snowbelt regions, except for Barrie and north of that, because we do have more of a northwesterly flow. So we're seeing that through Godbridge as well. So what's happening, really, are strong winds yet again. I hate to tell you this because, has it ever been windy yesterday? It's definitely not going to be as intense as it was yesterday, but we do have strong winds yet again with this clipper system that's going to be moving in throughout the day, southern Ontario for you tomorrow. With this, we're going to be picking up a general 2 to 5 centimeters of snow and obviously heavier amounts in the forewarned areas. But again, it's going to be on the gusty side, between 40 and 60 kilometer per hour gusts. So just a heads up there, 5 to 15 centimeters of snow there. I'm going to take you now to New Brunswick, where we do have rainfall warnings in effect, and that does include Metro Halifax. Also to the north, we do have rainfall warnings. We're expecting a general inch, a little bit more than an inch of rain there. And to the north, it's more about the snowfall and the blowing snow as well. So just a heads up through the Gaspé and throughout parts of Labrador. So here's how much rain we are expecting. I mentioned general close to an inch, over 25 millimeters of rain for some places. Everybody else 5 to 15. But we're going to be seeing a lot of switch over when it comes to the active weather for you. When you saw it is white out here. Let's upload this video to theweathernetwork.com and keep them coming. We love these videos.
And more is on the way. Kasia's system bringing 5 to 10 centimeters.
That's right, but it's more about the winds with this, because obviously we're not seeing too much snow, but it's all the winds that are going to be kicking up the snow, making for blizzard-like conditions, especially for you in Saskatchewan and Manitoba. We've already seen some pretty intense winds, and guess what? It's going to get way windier.
As we take a look through this evening into tomorrow, Kasia, we're looking at that throughout the country.
That's right. Where you're seeing the purples, that means it's cold, and it just means that this cold air mass is sinking further south. Polar vortex, you've been saying it, you've been hearing us talk about it, and it continues for some time right across the east. And when we say east, really, Edmonton and east, really. All right, let's take a look.
Or not. It looks like he's a little indifferent. How much snow are we expecting? Well, through Monday morning, 5 to 15 centimeters with some...
But again, it's going to be windy yet again, so a similar story to what we had. Obviously not as intense as it was yesterday and earlier this morning, but snow and blowing snow, another issue for us. And really the same story for you in more northern reaches of Quebec and Labrador as well.
The only difference...
That's right. And if you are seeing mixing or some snow, it's going to be changing over to rain, especially if you are in Halifax in Nova Scotia. What a beautiful scene. It's almost like a picture-perfect postcard, although it's awful on the roads, and I think a lot of people are getting sick of these kind of conditions. They're saying, no thanks, no more winter, please.
I was going to say, beautiful scene if you can stay indoors, you don't have to deal with the outside.
So we're talking about the rainfall. So whatever precipitation you are seeing right now, that's going to be changing over to rain through the overnight if you are in Nova Scotia. But for you in New Brunswick, it should remain a snowfall story.
Heaviest...
Right now, we are in for the long haul, without a doubt. This will be the winter for the record books. Wind chills, snow squall, watches and warnings week after week, and how much more can we bear? Well, speaking of records, $3.2 billion and counting. We are talking about insurance claims related to weather in 2013, I should say. Not jumping the gun now, are we? We've got that story coming up with our very own Suzanne Leonard. But first, take a look at your regional forecast. Kasia Badurka with you here Saturday night with more breezy conditions, snowy conditions, a weak clipper moving in tomorrow, and snow squalls. We'll talk about that in a second. But first, take a look at Cambridge earlier. And obviously the cars and the trucks and the buses were actually getting stuck in all that snow. Not good out there, right? Now through Monday, we're expected to pick up a general 2 to 5 centimeters of snow. That's not a whole lot of snow in the GTA, but with the winds picking it up, it's just going to make for treacherous driving conditions yet again. So how windy are we talking? Well, already through this evening, we've seen those windier conditions because of that cold front. And then it's just going to die down just a little bit. Anywhere you're seeing the oranges, we're talking about sustained winds between 20 and 40 K, but then it's going to be picking up yet again with this clipper that moves in. And of course, that's going to be bringing us that precipitation that I had mentioned. And here's a look at that precipitation and the timing there. We're also seeing wind directions shift a little bit, but we are expecting again, the squalls to be in your traditional snowbelt region, so along the Huron shores and just south of Georgian Bay. That's where we do have a snow squall warning in place. So, like I mentioned, a general 5 to 15 centimeters of snow through there, through your traditional snowbelt regions. Temperatures super cold through the overnight. Minus 16 for you in the city of Toronto, feeling much colder though with the wind chill. And have a look at the next 7 days. So we mentioned record-breaking insurance claims. Have a look.
2013 will go down in the history books as Canada's worst year ever for insured losses.
Another messy day in southern Ontario, and I almost feel like a broken record this winter. It has just been so active, hasn't it? Obviously, the snow plows out in full force, not stopping people being out and about. It almost looks like that guy was late for an exam or something. Kasia Badurka with you here, talking about those really intense winds. Have a look at some of these impressive peak wind gusts. I kid you not. I had to stand and brace myself when I was up against those winds yesterday along the shores of Lake Ontario. 94 kilometer per hour gusts yesterday. Will be gusty yet again tomorrow, but obviously not as intense as it was, okay? We're picking up a general 2 to 5 centimeters of snow with another weak clipper that's moving in. If you are heading closer to the shores of Georgian Bay as well as Huron, picking up more snow because of snow squalls that are happening now, by the way. And those snow squalls could make their way into the GTA as well tonight. So just a heads up. Also, temperatures plummeting down to minus 16 through the overnight for you in the city of Toronto, and a similar case for you in Hamilton, into Barrie as well. Actually, Barrie's getting much colder at minus 21, and those cold temperatures are here to stay. So here's an activity that'll keep you warm and you can face your fears like I did. People may be split about whether or not they're fans of reptiles, but one thing we can all agree on, we do not want to see them go extinct.
Well, this is made in dogs.
You can learn more about these reptiles and get past your fears here at Reptilia Zoo in Vaughan. It's open 7 days a week, 364 days a year. For the Weather Network, I'm Kasia Badurka.